Hello, sweet faces. Welcome to week three's homework review. We are going to be comparing numbers this week. So let's take a look. Our first one that we're comparing is 493 and 186. Remember, we're always starting with the greatest place value and working our way over until we find a difference between the two. We're asking ourselves over and over again, what is the greater value or what number is bigger? So the greatest place value in both of these numbers would be the hundredths place. So we're specifically looking at 400 and 100. We know that 400 is greater than 100, so we are going to draw our greater than sign. This would be read as 493 is greater than 186. Moving over, we are comparing 765 and 385. 700 is greater than 300. So we're going to draw our greater than sign. 765 is greater than 385. Moving on down, this one we are comparing 197 and 129. You notice that both of them have a 1 in the hundredths place, which means that they are equal so far. We need to look at our tens place. In the tens place, we have a 9 and a 2. This helps us make our decision. 9 is greater than 2, so that means that 179 is greater than 129. Moving over, we have 330, 991. 900 is greater than 300. We're going to draw our less than sign. This would be read as 330 is less than 991. Down to the last set on this page, we are comparing 154 and 672. 600 is greater than 100, so we use our less than sign. 154 is less than 672. And then our last one for this homework number 1, we're comparing 735 and 170. 700 is greater than 100, so we use our greater than sign. 735 is greater than 170. At this point, this is the end of homework number 1. Please go ahead and stop your video. This link will be provided to you again to review homework number 2. All right, my loves, homework number 2. We are still comparing numbers. So let's dive right in. We are comparing the largest place value first, asking ourselves again and again, which number is bigger? We are comparing 210, 685. 600 is greater, so 685 would be the greatest value. We would read this as 210 is less than 685. Next up, 264, 703. 700 is greater than 200. We would read this as 264 is less than 703. Comparing 662 and 769. 700 is greater. We would read this as 662 is less than 769. Comparing 616 and 930. 900 is greater than 600, so 616 is less than 930. Last two for this page. Comparing 238, 547. 500 is greater than 200, so 238 is less than 547. Last one, 264, 874. 800 is greater, so we would read this as 264 is less than 874. That brings us to the end of our second homework assignment. Please stop the video here. This link will be provided to you again for your next assignment. All right, my loves, let's take a look here. We are doing ordering from least to greatest and greatest to least. Remember that we need to double check and see what we're being asked to do. So for this one, least to greatest, greatest to least, greatest to least, least to greatest. Notice that these go back and forth, so we want to make sure that we know what we're being asked, okay? So let's take a look at this first one. We're being asked to order from least, so the smallest, to greatest, the biggest. We know that we need to first look at the hundredths place, because that's our greatest place value. We're comparing 300, 500, and 300. Out of these hundredths, 300 would be the least, but we have two 300ths, which means we also need to consider the tens place. We have 0 tens and we have 2 tens. If we put these in order from least to greatest, 301 is the smallest, 329 is the middle value, and then the only one that's left, 524, would be our greatest value. Okay, popping over here. Greatest to least, comparing our hundredths place, we have a 900, a 400, and a 700. 952 would be the greatest. 743 would be the middle value. And 403 would be the smallest. So 952, 743, 403. Moving on, greatest to least, we have a 900, an 800, and an 800. 999 would be the greatest. Since we have two 800s, we need to consider the tens value. We have 8 tens and 0 tens. Again, we want to do the greatest for this one. So 885 is larger than 809. So greatest to least, 999, 885, 809. All right, loves, least, we're back to least. We're comparing 800, 700, 500. 587 is the least. 780 is the middle. 894 is the greatest, so smallest to biggest, least to greatest. 587, 780, 894. Least to greatest. We have a 100, a 100, a 200. Our hundreds are the same, so we need to look at the tens. We have a 7 and a 5. Going from least to greatest, we have 155, 178, 233. Last one for this page, greatest to least, 400, 600, 600. We have a matching hundredths. We need to look at the tens, 0 tens, 4 tens. So going from greatest, so largest, to least, 645, 606, 493. That brings us to the end of this homework assignment. Please stop the video now. This link will be provided to you again for your next assignment. All right, my loves, on to our last assignment of the week. Remember, when we are ordering least to greatest, we need to really focus on what we're being asked to do. So for the first set, we want the least, smallest to greatest. We have a 900, 600, 800. 659 is the smallest. 841 is the middle. 902 is the greatest. So least to greatest, 659, 841, 902. Flipping our thinking, greatest to least, we have a 300, 200, 500. The greatest value is 568, 381, 240. All right, loves. Again, greatest to least, we have a 900, 500, 100. 923 would be the greatest. 565 would be the middle. 149 would be the least. These are actually already in order for you. Least to greatest, we have a 700, 500, 500. We need to consider the tens. We have 8 tens and 8 tens, which means we need to go all the way out to the ones place for this one. Least to greatest, our smallest is going to be 581 because 110 is smaller than 9 tens. Ones. Oh my goodness. 1 is smaller than 9 ones. Sorry, guys. So we have 581, 589, 738. Least to greatest. Last two. Least to greatest, we have a 200, 200, 900. When the hundreds match, we move over. 9 tens, 8 tens. Now we can order them. Smallest number is 285, followed by 297, followed by 959. And then our last set, we have 300, 400, 300. We're ordering these from the greatest to least. We need to look at our tens place. Our greatest value is 443, followed by 387, followed by 309. That brings us to the end of this homework assignment, and this also brings us to the end of our homework for this week. If you have any questions, please bring them to class or send me a message. I am always happy to answer them. Have a great weekend. Hello, sweet faces. Welcome to week 3 homework. This week we are working on rounding. Now, one of the most important things when we're rounding is to make sure that we know what we're being asked, right? So I would take a second and just look and see, am I being asked to round to the 100, to the 10? What is my focus? And then some quick reminders when we're going through the steps. Number 1, we are going to underline the place value. That helps to focus our brain, to make some really strong connections, to know what we're looking at. We're going to circle the number to the right. Remember, that's the boss. That tells us whether we need to round up or roll back.